You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Elon Musk for president. This is going to be my new write-in vote come up the next election cycle. And before you go off the rails here, just hold on a second. Let me explain to you why, because it's good for capitalism. Over the weekend, there was a bit of a Twitter exchange between Elon Musk and Bernie Sanders. But I have to go back a little bit in time here to talk about the brilliance of this conversation. And I don't even know if Elon Musk actually even realizes what he did here. But as I got to thinking about what he said, and we talk about where the economy is headed, of course, and this whole push by the social democrats to try to change the capitalistic system to much more socialism in nature, I got to thinking about what Elon Musk said and why this is something that we should encourage more CEOs to do. And I'll tell you, the one thing about capitalism, and we talk about capitalism on the show a lot because it's the goose that laid the golden egg. We talk about, the wealth that's been generated in this economy over the last, 200 years relative to countries around the world that have been around much longer than the U.S. And the U.S. has wealth that is head and shoulders above every other country in the world. And there's a reason for that. And over the course of the last, few years, and really ever since Barack Obama took office, there's been a real push to get the wealthy to pay more in taxes, right? The wealthy need to pay their fair share. Well, it sounds great, right? And I'm just trying to get votes. So I say these idiotic things to try to really, muster up the votes so people will vote for me. The wealthy pay about 90% of all the taxes already. So exactly what is their fair share? 100% of the taxes? Okay. It's not that much more than they're paying now. But it's not the tax rate that's the problem. It's the tax code that's the problem. And it's okay, though, because let's just presume for a moment that the wealthy pay 100% of the taxes, right? So the top 10%, they're going to pay 100% of the taxes. It's not going to make much difference than it is now. And guess who winds up still getting hurt? The guy at the bottom end. Because those at the top end, the top 10 and 20% of the economy, they're the ones that are the job creators. So you raise taxes on them. They're going to raise the cost of goods. And that gets passed down to the little guy who has to pay more. So whether or not the little guy, and look, the bottom 50% of the population pays no income tax, and the lower 20% actually get money back from the government every year, and they're still being impacted by taxes because of higher cost to them. And they have to pay more of their income for the things that they want. So it really doesn't, a lot of this is just nonsense in terms of policy, but it is what gets votes, right? It gins up the voter at the time of the election. It's like, yeah, I want change. I want a better, fairer tax system. I want more stuff from the government. And so, of course, we're trying to pass now these spending boondoggle bills of massive proportions, and we want to give more people more money, right? We like this. The social democrats like this, right? We want to give people more money. Free child care, free, paid leave, and, all these other give-me's, right? Free college tuition, all these things, right? We're going to give you more money. Sounds great. Somebody's got to pay for it. Who's going to pay for it? The wealthy need to pay for it. All these rich billionaires that don't pay any taxes, they need to pay for this. Okay. Why don't billionaires pay taxes? Let's talk about Elon Musk for a second. We actually touched on this last week. If you have a major corporation, publicly traded, and you're a big shareholder, and as Elon Musk, said in a tweet last week we discussed, he says, look, I don't have an income and I don't take a bonus. All I have is my stock. And of course, we've talked about the problem with stock buybacks and these type of things because a lot of executives are compensated a lot by stock. But see, the problem is they can't sell it because if they go out to sell it, that impacts the markets, right? If the market gets whiff that Elon Musk is selling his shares, oh my gosh, Elon Musk must think something's wrong with his company. That's why he's selling his stock. Maybe I better sell too. And the price goes down. So what they do is they take their stock, they go to the bank, and you think if Elon Musk walks into a bank, JP Morgan as an example, and he says, hey, you know what? I need like $500 million. I want to buy a house and a jet and a car. You think bank has any problem loaning them money? Of course not. They say, good, give me your stock as collateral and you can have all the money you want, right? You're worth $180 billion. Sure, I'll loan you $500 million on your stock. Charge you 3% interest. Now think about this for a second. I can get a loan from the bank at 3% interest against my stock, or I can sell my stock, potentially take the risk of driving the stock price down and pay 20% for the privilege of selling the stock in the company that I built. Capital gains tax. What do you think they're going to do? It's what all rich people do. The rich, CEOs of companies, they do this all the time. That's how they get their liquidity out of their business without actually selling their shares. But Elon Musk did something brilliant last week. He said, he went to Twitter and he said, hey, Twitter, is it okay if I sell some stock because I need to pay my taxes? There's this whole movement now by the government. The government says, hey, these rich people need to pay tax on their capital gains, even if it's unrealized. They haven't even realized their gain yet, but we need to tax them on that anyway. So if you have an unrealized gain, you're going to have to pay capital gains tax on that unrealized gain. And so Elon Musk said, okay, if you're going to tax me on my unrealized gains, I'll make it realized. I'll take it at 20%. Goes to Twitter, asks Twitter's permission. Twitter gives him permission. He sells it. The stock is down 10, 11, 12% over the last couple of weeks. Now, he sold it. He sold, $20 billion worth of stock, whatever it was. Stock price is down 10, 20%. Now, over the weekend, so think about this for a second, right? So I'm a shareholder. Now the stock price is down, and it's because he sold shares. Okay, no problem with that, right? I understand what's going on. Nobody's panicking, but let me bring something up to you. Ron Wyden, Democrat congressman. Whether or not the world's wealthiest man pays any taxes at all shouldn't depend on the results of a Twitter poll. It's time for billionaires' income tax. Of course, it didn't take long for Bernie Sanders to jump into the middle of this. He says, we must demand that the extremely wealthy pay their fair share, period. Awesome. This is why I'm voting for Elon Musk for president. He tweeted back to him, I keep forgetting you're still alive. That's not why. It was the second tweet that he followed up with. He says, want me to sell more stock, Bernie? Just say the word. Here's why this is a brilliant tactic. And it shows you what the risk is to what these social democrats want, right? So we have all these people invested in the stock market. We've got the Fed trying to prop up the stock market. Elon Musk asked permission from Twitter to sell some stock, made it public notice before he ever told. He says, look, I don't have an income or a bonus, and if you want me to pay taxes and pay for, I got to sell some stock. Is it okay? Yes, it's okay, Elon. Sell some stock. He sold some stock. Public notice. And the stock is down 10, 11, 12%. Now, can you imagine what happens to the stock market now once these Democrats start to demand that these billionaires pay a tax on unrealized capital gains? They're all going to sell. You know what happens to the stock market? What Elon Musk said, want me to sell some more stock, Bernie? Just say the word. Stock's already down 10, 11, 12%. Want me to sell some more stock? No problem. I got $180 billion worth of stock to sell. What would be the price of Tesla if he continues to sell his stock? And then can you imagine what happens to the stock market and capitalism once you begin to impose taxes on the wealthy on an unrealized capital gain basis, and they all start selling without asking permission? What Elon Musk did was show exactly what we've talked about on the show here numerous times. He proved it. We said, look, if you impose a tax, the thing about the wealthy is that they're very fungible. They have their wealth in all different forms. And yeah, Elon Musk can go to the bank and borrow money against his stock, and that income that he picks up from the bank loan is non-taxable, so he doesn't pay any tax on it. It's a loan that he pays back at some future date and time with his stock. When he sold $20 billion worth of his stock, do you think he paid off some of his loans? Probably. Freed up his credit lines. But see, this is what people in power don't understand. They don't understand that the wealthy have options. And they don't really care. The stock was free to them. You think I care if I have 180? This is like the old lottery ticket, right? It's like, well, if you win $1 billion in the lottery, it's not that much money after you pay taxes. Right. I got 180 billion bucks. You think I mind paying 20% in income taxes to liquefy that stock? I can't sell it, right? I'm Elon Musk. I can't sell my stock because if I do, I'll collapse the price of the company and I'll impact all my shareholders and I'll impact the markets. I'm in the top 6 holdings of the S&P 500. Do you think that if I liquidate a bunch of my stock, that the S&P 500 is going to be trading where it is today? No, of course not. The point is here, this is a good example. This is a shot across the bow for these individuals touting these higher taxes on the wealthy. Let's go after those rich billionaires that own public stock. Let's go after Jeff Bezos. Yeah, I hope you liked your Amazon shares at the current price, because won't be there for long if they get their way. Elon Musk for president. It's my thought. Be right back after the break.